I'm Chris. In this video I'm going to show you how to install our front lip on a MK8 GTI. We'll start by removing the 2 screws for the fender liner, the 5 across the center, and then the 2 for the other side. We do include a diagram with all the bolt positions and where the spacers go, so you can reference that. I'll also mention some of that in the video here. I'm going to hold the lip up. We'll do countersunk holes facing down towards the ground. You're going to use the last hole on the end that is not countersunk. We'll stick our screw in there and then use this outside hole. We'll thread that in as far as I can. I'll come over and do the other side also. Because I'm working alone, I'll use a piece of tape in the center just to hold this up so it doesn't put too much strain on those screws while we do our marking and drilling. I'm going to drill the holes using a 6mm or 1/4 inch drill bit. Before you drill, just reach your hand up above where the holes are. Make sure that there's nothing in the way. Depending on the model that you're installing on, some of them have the headlight sprayers and that line can be running pretty close to the front row of holes. So just get an idea before you do this. If it's too close for comfort, you can pop that line out of the clips. This car doesn't have it. But you'll be able to pull the line out of the way. You could drill your hole and then stick it back in just as a safety precaution. As I drill out my holes, I want to make sure that I'm pushing the lip up so that my hole is in the right position. If your drill's misaligned, you're going to end up having a harder time getting the bolts in. I do suggest lining up your hardware just so you can figure out which ones are which. We got 20mm, 25mm, 30mm, and then 45s. So you want to make sure you're using the correct ones in the right spot. Again, check the diagram for reference there. We're going to do a bolt through the bottom, washer goes on the top, and then a nut. For this bolt, fitting your finger in there is pretty tight, so I'm using a wrench. I slid the nut in place, put the open end of the wrench on it, and I can move that around to kind of adjust. I can look through the hole and see it, and I can put the bolt in. That seems like it's easier than trying to fish it in there with your finger. I did a couple of these. I found the easiest way to do it was to do the rear bolt first. So rear bolt in through the spacer, press the top tray down so you have enough thread exposed to put your washer and your bolt on. That'll hold the spacer in place. The front ones are a little more difficult because again, the space is limited and you have the lower support for the radiator that goes underneath here. So fitting your hand in there is going to be harder. It's just one less thing to align if you do the rear one first. And then you can come back and do the front row. I'm actually going to leave this partially sitting out so I can slide the nut where I need it to because I can't fit my whole hand in there. And then I'll thread the bolt into the nut once it's in place. So while it is possible to get these bolts in place, I opted to take the bumper off for this car also. The issue is really this front one. We want this to bolt this plastic piece of trim to the lower tray to stiffen that front edge. To get your hand in there is difficult because the lower rad support or brace here gets in the way. This slides into this cavity here, so fitting your finger under that is a challenge, and you don't want your bolt to end up between this and this, which is what could happen if you try to do it with the bumper on the car. So I already did a video showing removing the bumper, but I'd suggest doing it this way. It ended up taking a lot less time to just remove the bumper, put the lip on, than it was trying to fit my fingers in there and put the bolts in place while the bumper was on the car.